3, 2, 1. Welcome to the Hunters Hub. This is your host, Fortuan, joined by co-host Pan. She's doing that mocking thing again. Welcome.
Hi. I sound like I've picked up a bad cigarette habit because I'm still recovering from my cold turned sinus infection turned ear infection.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly what happened to me. I got an ear infection from mine as well.
Yeah. I haven't been to work all week. I only left my house today to buy fish.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm a little squirrely.
And didn't get a lot of sleep.
No, I stayed up till 2:30 playing Heroes of the Storm with you, and then my son woke up at 3.
Was it?
And then he woke up at 4.
Was it?
It's 2:30 my time. You signed off around 2 my time.
Was it really 3 a.m. that I got off? Holy cow!
Yeah.
I didn't even realize. Okay.
Yeah, it was 2 my time when you signed off. Yeah, so I went to bed around 2:30 when you signed off. And then so the boy woke up at about 3:30 or 3:30, and then he woke up about 4, and then he got up for the day at 6.
Oh, okay. And welcome, Sasha. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I have had a much less eventful week. I worked, and today I went to Frankenfest in Detroit, which is like it's a Halloween convention. Had a bunch of vendors, Theater Bazaar, Monsters Inc. was there. The Ghostbusters were there.
Nice.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Yeah,
Huh.
And I did not get a sunburn, so I will call that a success. I was in the sun for 3 hours, and I'm still porcelain.
Nice. About the only way that's one trait I get from my Native American stuff is I have to have been in water for me to get a sunburn. Otherwise, I'm good. I don't have that problem usually.
I need to be dipped in sunscreen like Achilles in the river, or the sun is going to take me.
Oh man, I always like to imagine it like the Super Mario angry sun from Mario 3 that just circles around and dives down at people. It's like, sunburn, bitch, gotcha.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I spent about 5 minutes outside, and I turned like coffee colored.
Oh boy.
You can tell how much time I spend outside.
Yeah. I mean, I don't spend a ton of time outside. Actually, since I started working with my dad, it's been a lot more because we have to do a lot of stuff, like at sawmills and stuff. And yeah, it's outside. So we're going to be talking about female protagonists in games tonight. This kind of was sparked by a bit of a misunderstanding on our Discord. But, basically ended up being... what are some great female protagonists to talk about? So we decided, hey, let's talk about it and talk about some favorite games of ours. We're going to do, as usual, 5 each, but I have some honorable mentions and a backup. And I will probably mention that backup as an honorable mention if they don't get said. But for me, and this isn't true for all of us, but for me, these are all games that I have played and enjoyed as playing as the female protagonist. I do not necessarily identify with that character, partially being male, but also sometimes it's just not a person, not a personality match for me or something. But still an enjoyable game. So. About the same what you guys did. Had played them at least. Right?
Yeah, I've got one that I watched my husband play because I'm a big sissy about horror games, but I wanted to add her to the list.
If we have to stop counting games that we have watched our husbands play, we gotta retcon a lot of episodes. I'll put it that way.
That's true. That has happened, and it has come up with you a lot of times. I don't have a husband, so that's not a problem for me. I also don't have a wife anymore, so don't have that problem the other way either. It's just me playing games now. So
you get to watch the little girls play games someday.
Possibly. I mean, the three of us spent a good 3 hours today unlocking a bunch of new cars in Cruisin' Blast. Today, Cruisin' Blast. I think it's called Blast.
Mine's attention span is very short, so because she's 2. So
fair.
She's been watching me play Katamari, which is a surprising choice of hers, but it's a little relaxing for me.
It's colorful.
It is. That must be what it is. And then she's labeling everything dog till they're screaming in pain because they've been wrapped up in the Katamari.
They don't really scream in pain, but they do.
Yes, they do. They do.
Well, the dogs
people do. I'm telling you.
Well, that's true. The people do yell, at least in fear. I will say in fear. And the cops do shoot at you.
I think it's pain. I'm going to go with pain.
But the dogs just bark. The dogs don't yelp or anything. They just bark. Now, I think the cats do yelp. I think they do make cat yelp sounds.
The cats do yell. Because I've been playing the re-roll, so it's remastered. It was free on Game Pass, so of course I'm going to download that and see what I can get away with my kid.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mine likes to watch me play various kinds of the farmer game.
Yeah. Yeah. I will say one thing I want to mention about this Cruisin' Blast game. It is insane. So it's like if you ever played Cruisin' USA in the arcade, it's in that series. This was made by 21 people. I looked this up today. Just 21 people. And it's an amazing game for just 21 people. But the amount of vehicles you can be is like, there's like 18 or something vehicles. And there's like, oh, here's like this like super up like sports car or whatever. And they've got the model name and everything. And then it piqued my interest when my daughter unlocked Unicorn as one of the cars. And then Triceratops. And then SWAT helicopter. And tank. And there's all sorts of just crazy cars. And all of the cars have at least 3 out of 4 customization options, which include neon lights, decals, bodywork, and engine work. So we maxed out the Unicorn, and it gains flaming hooves. It basically becomes Rapidash. And then the bodyworks gives it Pegasus wings. And then the engine work is they strap a rocket to it. This game is insane. I love it. Anyways, has nothing to do with female protagonists. I do not believe that any of those cars and or dinosaurs, horses, or whatever identify as male or female. So yeah, I guess I'll lead us off tonight, and I'm going to start with a pretty duh one for a lot.
Oh,
go ahead.
Wait, before you go with this duh one, I need to drop my hot take.
Okay.
I need to be Morg.
Yes.
Uh-oh.
Samus Iran does not count for tonight.
Damn it. That was the one I was going to talk about. Why?
She's not a character.
Yes, she is.
The devs made her a girl because they realized at the end of it that it didn't matter if she was male or female, so they thought it'd be funny to make her a girl.
Okay, yes, the origin of her being a girl is not very, very positive, we'll say. Not very positive. But they have fleshed her out as a character since, especially in something like Metroid Fusion, where she actually does have a, monologue and thought process and stuff. But I was going to say
an internal
Samus.
Dialogue.
Yes.
Okay. That's fine. the giant asterisk on this is Metroid Fusion, so I'll give it to you.
And that's what I was going to talk about it for, is
Okay.
Metroid Fusion,
Go for it.
which is my favorite Metroid game.
It's Steve's favorite too. He's like drooling. He's like drooling at Metroid Dread.
Oh yeah, no, it's already pre-ordered for me. Samus as a character wasn't very. You're right. In the original NES version, yeah, it was not very flattering to have like, haha, wouldn't it be funny if it was a girl? And then she had not a lot of development and or let's say none until the Game Boy titles, which would have been a Fusion. And there is dialogue about, her trying to figure out what's going on, her trying to sort of figure out, like, why are these scientists always dying everywhere I go? Like, what are they doing? Like, it's actually a kind of, to me, it reminds me of a bit of a noir story. She ends up being like like her own private detective trying to figure out what's going on since she has parted ways with the military faction or whatever. While I will not say that Samus is the most fleshed out or positive female figure on this list, that is still one of the funnest games I have played as a girl. But I always knew she was a girl before I played, because I didn't play my first Metroid until 2013, and that was Super Metroid. Actually, that's not true. I played Metroid Prime sometime before that. And it's very clear in Metroid Prime that she's female, because you can see her face in the visor, especially when the flashes come up. Like if you shoot something and there's a bright flash, you'll actually see your face in the visor, which I thought was a cool touch. And there's a bit of development, I think, in the Prime series as well, as far as a character. I will say I have never played Other M, and Other M is the one that people really point to being a super not positive take on Samus, being sort of subservient to whatever commander she's under. I've only heard bits and pieces of why it's bad. I do not want to discount how terrible that is, because I've heard it is atrocious. Under Adam. Okay. Thanks for that, Steve. So yeah, it was.
Of course, his name is Adam.
Is that like an Adam and Eve thing? Okay.
It also, like, Adam literally means man.
True. Oh well, yeah. That's more problematic. But yes, yeah, the same guy in Fusion. Oh, okay, it was a reference to Fusion. Anyways, yeah, so I enjoy Fusion. I'm looking forward to Dread. I thought Samus was a great character. I was a little thrown off by Pan leading off. I'm not allowed to pick my very first one on my list, but okay.
I'm just trying to bring a little bit of Morg energy to this with the bad hot takes.
I don't think it's bad. I mean, she's not a positive one in a lot of games.
One thing that was very, very fun for me when Smash Brothers was taken off back on the N64, I played with my brothers a bunch, and one of my brothers, he mained Samus, and as the language of people in the edgy teenagers in the early 2000s. I said some derogatory things about him for playing as a girl character.
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, we've all done that, right?
And I was 11. But anyways, he was so pissed off and defensive for me saying that Samus was a girl. And he was like 16, 17, by the way.
Yeah. I mean, I got pretty upset over Melee when I was 15 or 16.
So yeah, he would like throw his controller and stuff sometimes, and it was good. It was good if I found like one way to get under his skin. The other way was to play Ness, which like hard counters Samus.
Yeah, Ness is mean. I cannot play Ness worth a crap, but he is mean. He
is straight up broken in old Smash Bros.
Mm-hmm.
PK Fire deals too much damage, and his bubble heals way too much health.
I prefer to hit people with the baseball bat, and that's probably why I lose. Although you can baseball back projectiles. You can do that. So yeah, Samus Iran from the Metroid series. So mostly Fusion for me is where I enjoyed her the most, and some in Prime. I never finished all the primes though. I tried several times. I finished 1, got most of the way to 2, and never touched 3. So there you go. So Sasha, what's your first one tonight?
I'm gonna go with one that started as an escort mission and turns into your protagonist. Is Clementine from the Walking Dead series.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I love Clementine. I think that having watched her grow from being like the toddler basically that you're escorting through season 1 to a very badass young woman surviving years into the zombie apocalypse. You kind of feel like her mom a little bit. And she's just so tough, and she embodies, I think, all of the positive and negative traits that I think you would need to have to survive in the apocalypse. And it's what makes her essentially alone most of the time, with the exception of her own escort mission when it comes full circle in the last season.
Oh, as a little kid, she has to escort it as well?
Yeah, I mean, he's even more fucked up and badass than she is, if I'm totally honest. But it's because I think it's just a product of being raised in the apocalypse. There's never been any. Their normal is survival, so there's no room for snuggles and rainbows and butterflies. It's cut your hair short, aim for the head, be quiet all day long. So
yeah, her escort was born after the kid she escorts was born after the apocalypse.
Yes.
Interesting. I never played any of the Walking Dead stuff, so
I will say I think it's tough on your heart. Every season is season. But it is excellent writing, and I have to say, like, as far as character development goes, not even just Clementine, but most of the characters that you encounter, I think, have very realistic development, realistic responses to the problems that they're encountering, and ultimately it just comes down to the biggest threat is other people, not the zombies. The zombies are just an added barrier, but it's the people. But with Clementine, I think what I love about her the most is she's really, really smart. She is resourceful. She listens and learns from almost every situation that she's in. And that's one of those like funny things from Telltale games of like, they'll remember that. But Clementine really does remember that. And it is what keeps her going. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
I unfortunately never got into The Walking Dead. I was out season 1, episode 2. I was just out.
So you haven't been gutted by Telltale properly.
No. The only Telltale game I played, and I quite enjoyed it, was the Batman ones. And
they are awesome. They are a good time, but
they are not
they don't
emotional.
gut your heart.
No.
No.
They are not. They try to be, but they are not. Oh man.
The Wolf Among Us Telltale games are excellent if you like Fables, the comic series.
Okay. If I pick it up, it'll probably be one of those big collections where they have them all, because
they do that quite often.
Yeah. All right. So Telltale, Clementine. There you go. I had to think of it a second. I've never played it, so. All right. So Pan, what's your first one tonight?
The first one was Clementine.
Oh, nice. Double it up.
Yeah. Yeah, my first one was Clementine, because it like she said, it's fascinating watching her go from the escort mission to like cracking knuckles, busting skulls, and like getting things done. But trying to find my voice again. I can talk, I swear. Okay, so the one that I was gonna bring up, so Steve and I, we were talking we basically did a road trip around town today, looking for an obscure piece of equipment for our aquarium.
Mm-hmm.
And we were talking a lot about what I was going to talk about tonight, and Stella from Spiritfarer came up. Which did either of you play Spiritfarer?
No.
Okay. Well, then I'm going to be vague, but a little vague. So Spiritfarer, the premise of Spiritfarer is that you are a little girl named Stella. You have a cat. I think its name is Daffodil. Can't remember.
Mm-hmm.
Played this back during quarantine. And Stella is taking over for Charon as the guide of the dead.
Oh, okay.
And as you sail the river Styx in your little houseboat, you keep like adding buildings so you can like make your guests more comfortable on the boat on their way to the gates of oblivion. It's all about sort of just helping the spirits that you pick up along the way sort of come to terms with their death and be prepared for the next journey, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay.
So, and as the game unfolds, you sort of learn more about what Stella used to be like, because, you know, Stella looks like a little girl, but as the game progresses, you realize Stella's not really a little girl.
Yeah.
But Stella's not the one I want to talk about. So the spirits you pick up,
Okay.
they do tasks on your ship, like give you craftables, or like they'll grow your plants, or they'll cook food for you, or they'll do stuff that makes your fulfilling quests easier, because you go on quests as you sail around, go on little adventures.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the spirits you pick up is her name is Summer, and she looks like a python wearing a bathrobe, basically. Like all the spirits you pick up, they look like some kind of animal wearing funny clothes.
Mm-hmm.
So Summer, and as you talk to Summer, you find out that Summer was married to Stella's aunt back when Summer was alive, and she was basically this like hippie who really liked gardening and always ate organic and all this other stuff. And as you do quests for Summer to help Summer sort of come to terms, Summer's part of your party because she does tasks. So she is a character. She is part of the party.
Mm-hmm.
She is an antagonist in this, or a protagonist in this story.
Okay.
But you sort of learn about how like Summer's sort of last few years fighting cancer. And as you're going on quests with Summer up and down the river Styx, every so often this like weird mutant dragon attacks your boat. And like every time you fight it off, Summer sort of remembers more and more about what she was like as because she doesn't really remember her life. So she starts to remember more and more about like fighting off the cancer and fighting off the dragon that kept rearing its head throughout her life.
Yeah.
Because she had multiple bouts of cancer, and it's just sort of fascinating watching Summer like talk to Stella and sort of talk out like her last days or her last few years, and how Stella really sort of was a bright light in her the last part of her life. Stella being her niece by marriage.
Wow.
Because it is fascinating. So yeah, every character in Spiritfarer sort of has a sort of journey they have to go through as you take them on quests through Styx, where they sort of come to terms with how they died.
Interesting that they made Cancer or Dragon, because that's another reference. There's another indie game that won a lot of awards in the Game Awards called That Dragon Cancer. That was about a family who lost their son to cancer, and the two of them made a game about that experience called That Dragon Cancer.
I wonder, because I know like a lot of these little indie devs like go to the same like game jams and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if that was like some kind, maybe an idea that they sort of swapped at a game jam.
Interesting.
Because yeah, you do this sort of mini game where you have to. The dragon, by the way, the cancer dragon. When you do the mini game, that's how you get ores to you smelt into bars because craft. Everything's a survivor craft game.
Yeah.
So you have to like jump on the dragon's back and like hit it with a pickaxe to like fight it and also get ores.
Some Monster Hunter action in there too. Yeah. Pickaxe and a dragon. There you go. Yeah.
But yeah, it is such a fascinating, sad game.
Mm.
But it is like you've got to be in the right mood for it. My husband, like he could not put it down. He bought it for me, and I was playing it on the Switch. And he like kind of, got sucked into the story of it. And he just kept taking the Switch and playing it.
Mm. This is before you had 2 Switches, though.
Yeah. This was back during quarantine. So, last year.
Yep.
No. This experience is actually kind of what put the seed in my head of getting 2 Switches.
Yeah, I could understand that. Speaking of which, I am down to 1 Switch because Emery's died again. Not by her own fault. It won't charge anymore. I'm trying to figure that out. So I gave her my old Switch, and I'm going to be using the one I have. So we're back down to 3 Switches.
I have no Switch. No Switch at all.
Well, Spiritfarer is available on most I
think
platforms.
It's on Game Pass, but I have to be honest, I knew that there was a cancer thing in it, and, that's like a topic that makes me sad. No. I don't want to.
No, there's a
steering clear.
Yeah, there's so like a lot of the spirits that you pick up, they're pretty vague about like where they were in life and things like that until you start talking to them. And there's like one spirit who just really cannot nail down like details about their life.
Mm.
And then you realize they died of Alzheimer's.
Oh, that's rough. Oh, that's rough. Oh, man.
Yeah. No. Yeah. It is an intense game. It's very pretty. It's very calm and chill, but it's also just oddly intense.
Mm.
But yeah. So Summer from Spiritfarer is. Yeah. Oh yeah. I will say the sort of like crux of Summer's story is that her first bout with cancer is kind of she was a scientist who made GMOs, and she just randomly got cancer, and so she decided to go become a vegan hippie after she recovered from cancer, and that's where she met her wife.
Mm.
And then they lived happily ever after for several years until the dragon came back.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but that's like I don't know, Summer was just like my favorite character in that game.
Okay.
Stella is also a pretty cool protagonist too. And I don't even want to dive into things about Stella if you're ever going to play this game.
Fair. Okay. I may. I have a lot of games to clean up, but I'll look at it.
It does not have a ton of game playtime.
Okay. That makes it easier. That's for sure. Okay, so I'm gonna go for the next super obvious one, which is Lara Croft Tomb Raider, and yeah, I know, ha ha ha. Now I will say this: as a game, the original Tomb Raiders were not super great for me. I played them; they were the thing to play. It was funny as a young adolescent boy to make fun of her chest because they looked like rockets. Like, it was a thing when I was growing up.
It is funny as a young adolescent girl to make fun of her chest. It's okay.
However, I like to focus on the game I actually like, which is the Tomb Raider remakes that they've been doing. Now, I've only played the first one, but my goodness, they are. I'm not super high up on survival games, but the survival crafting adventure that is the new Tomb Raiders, on top of collecting all the artifacts and stuff, is insanely cool. Now, also there is some insane, like, I don't know, body horror, I guess is what you would call it. In the very first, like, half hour of the game, you fall through some rebar, like, just goes through
That
you.
should kill her. Yeah, the tetanus that should have killed her before the end of that.
Yeah. They also deal a little bit with, I don't know, the fact she's never killed anybody, but the first time she kills somebody, she cries for 5 minutes, and then she's a murder machine the rest of the game.
That's like in fucking Rick and Morty.
Yeah, I mean, but they also do this in The Last of Us. Like, the same thing happens with Ellie. They make a big deal about her the first time she kills someone, and then she's just doing it all over again. Like, but I will say the games themselves were enjoyable. I think they did a good job to sway Lara away just from some distant, rich know-it-all that she was in the original games. Sort of like a bland, flat personality. She's like, oh, well, she was basically rich and British. It was her personality, and her father died. And you're like, okay, cool. You know, like, let's have some depth here. And there wasn't. Go ahead.
I was going to say, we've never seen a rich British orphan protagonist before.
I mean, we have.
There's lots of those.
Okay. I can't think of any, though. That was my confusion. Is like, I guess Bond?
American version would be Batman.
Yeah. Batman with akimbo pistols. But the newer ones, I don't know. They made it feel a little more realistic, even though, yeah, she should have died from tetanus. All that kind of stuff.
Or the fact that she has no muscles on her body, so the very first time she runs and jumps and grabs onto something, should have, like, broken right off of her torso.
Yeah. No, I get it. It's entirely unrealistic.
I want to see some gymnast muscles on her. The stuff she's doing, she doesn't have the body to do that. I'm sorry,
no.
she doesn't. But the games are enjoyable. I do agree.
Yeah, they are. They are much more enjoyable than the old ones who had, as they used to lovingly call them, tank controls, like Resident Evil.
I think that's where my initial hate for platformers came from, is the, like, jumping mechanics in the original Tomb Raider was really, really challenging for me.
Oh, well, they're challenging for people in general. Like, they were tough games, in my opinion, at least. The remake was much more digestible. I actually finished it. I don't think I ever finished a previous Tomb Raider game, even though I have tried several times, even as a later adult, and still have not been able to finish them. But there is one thing over the old ones had that I kind of enjoyed. It was a little bit more of the fantastical element, like fighting a T-Rex or something like that. You don't get a lot of that in the new Tomb Raider. But you do get, I do enjoy her use of ice picks a lot in the new Tomb Raiders. Yeah, it's pretty brutal, but it works. It makes it believable that she is not as strong as the people she is fighting, but she knows where to hit. So I do enjoy that. It's a touch of realism. It is obviously not realism, but it's a touch of realism that I think that the series benefited from. And yeah, again, the rebar, all sorts of things that should have killed her all over again. I actually had not watched the new movie that was based on the new Lara until like last month, and it wasn't terrible.
I forgot there was one.
Yeah. It kind of follows the story of the first Tomb Raider remake, kind of, not exactly, but.
Where does Lara get hit by the rebar?
Through the side.
Yes, and thankfully missed some major organs when that happened.
To be fair, when I was a kid, my best friend
like
when I was my best friend when I was 14. He got impaled by a bicycle handlebar. In his abdomen, out his back. Missed every organ.
Thank you for giving me another thing to panic about.
Yeah, you know those rubber guards on the handlebars? Keep those shits on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just turned and then his bike fell over and he fell on top of it. Now, to be fair, he had raging infections for months.
Yeah,
So that still doesn't excuse Lara. But the initial injury, all there was a hole.
Wow. All there was a hole. That's still hard.
I mean, a hole about this big. Listeners, I'm holding up my fingers in an OK sign. And the O part is about the size of a 50-cent piece in America.
Yeah, that's... Just...
Europeans, Canadians, I don't know how big your coins are. So, yeah. I'm just saying, to be fair, when I was 14, my best friend got impaled by a bicycle handlebar, and the initial injury did not kill him. The subsequent infections...
Apparently, Lara didn't get any infections.
Yeah, now I don't know about that.
But I guess there was no epilogue. We don't know what happened after the first game before the next one.
No.
Yeah.
She just appears just fine. No PTSD from being nearly raped 7 times or all this other stuff she went through in the first one.
The DLC is full spectrum antibiotic.
Also, to be fair, women have more organs down there than men.
Okay.
Great organs.
So, Lara Croft Tomb Raider. I enjoyed the new ones. The old ones are kind of fun for the shooting dinosaurs, but that's about it. And there you go. That's my last, I will say, cliche one. My other choices are games that I have played that are a little less popular. So, there you go. So Sasha, what's your second one?
Okay, this one probably will be the least fleshed out character everyone. But I picked Zoey from Left 4 Dead, and the reason why is because when this game came out, I felt like I was looking at myself in a video game. Like I was actually looking at myself. She is a very vanilla, boring person because I am a very vanilla, boring person, but she is a white girl with brown hair, a little ponytail, little chucks. It was, the early 2000s, so the track jacket thing, like the skinny jeans, that was my whole high school look, but there was some emo band underneath my track jacket. It's the only added thing.
Sure.
So I really identified with Zoey, and I'd like to mention here Rochelle from the second game because I think that representation is very important, and I think that there are probably a lot of people who also identified with her, and maybe for the first time kind of seeing a character that looked like them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I liked it. And there were other things about Zoey. Like I said, I think an earlier episode, I've played through the Left 4 Dead campaigns with the commentary on.
Mm-hmm.
So they do give you a little bit of backstory about all the characters as you're going through. And I think at the time that I was playing Left 4 Dead the most, I was an undergrad, and Zoey at the time of the apocalypse is a college student who gets pulled into it in her dorm room is where it all starts for her. So
yep,
it just was felt like I was playing myself.
Okay, her and what's the? I always forget his name. The black guy.
Which game? 1 or 2?
1.
Lewis.
Her and Lewis always had some great dialogue. I normally played as Lewis because he was the middle manager IT guy, which is what I identified with. He's skinny.
That's a real stretch.
What?
I said that before you said he's skinny.
Oh, okay.
I said the middle manager IT. That was not a weight joke. That was a you are a IT guy joke.
Yeah, I know.
That was bad timing.
No, I didn't think you were talking about the fact he was skinny at all. You're fine. Yeah, no. I liked him because he was like, this is crazy, guys. Like, oh my gosh. And then she was always just like, dude, chill. Zoe's lines were, she was kind of like the butter for that, like not the butter, but like the glue for the whole group. Like, she's kind of what kept it together. Butter, the opposite of what that was. So I don't know. I actually like Zoey pretty well, but I like a lot of the Left 4 Dead 1 crew. I didn't really get to play Left 4 Dead 2 a lot, because again, I was really into Left 4 Dead 1. They added in a melee cooldown and I was out. I was like, I can't do all my crazy strats that I was doing with my buddies. Like, this game is dead to me, and I just never played it again. But I probably would have identified with Coach on the second one.
That's who I played in the second one every time. But that's because there's a reason. He's the biggest character and the one that the computer's going to target all of the time.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why. I'm not going to have the computer play as Coach.
Right. So, there we go. Number 2 for Sasha. So, number 3 and number 2 for Pan. I don't know why I thought we started on you.
All right. I'll take you guys back. Picture it. Nebraska. 2003?
Mm-hmm.
I think 2003.
I'm just imagining a small town. That's all I'm imagining.
Does it help the town was called Hickman?
Yes. Very much so.
I see you're Googling it, Sasha.
Hickman.
That's what it's called, okay? So, Hickman, Nebraska. I don't got no video games because my house burned down a few months ago.
Yeah.
But it's Christmas. And what do I get for Christmas? But a Game Boy Advance SP and a copy of Fire Emblem. I don't know what Fire Emblem is, but it had a really cool commercial.
Mm-hmm.
It had a really cool commercial they were airing back then, and I really wanted that. That commercial just sold me. I didn't care what it was.
Mm-hmm.
And so I popped that game in, and what do you know it? But the very first character you're introduced to, who is like the ancient foretold chosen one who draws the sword from the stone. Literally, it's in like the 4th mission. You draw the ancient sword from the stone and everything. But Lynn, who has like every single like fantasy protagonist trope about her. Her village has been destroyed, and she's the last surviving member of her tribe. She's the daughter of the chief. She pulled the sacred sword from the stone, and these 2 mysterious knights from a faraway land have called to pick her up because she is a long-lost princess. What?
But she was the daughter of the chief. There's 2.
Yes.
There's 2 lineage
and the chief's
problems.
wife. And the chief's wife.
Okay.
Was the king's daughter who ran away 16 years ago.
Of course, she hooked up with the chief. Gosh, those guys.
Yeah.
Those guys.
I mean, if you're gonna slum it on the plains of Sakay, at least you're gonna do it with the chief instead of some lowborn commoner.
That's not how that works at a tribe.
I know. So, well, anyway, she's the so. I was just super jazzed to have this fantasy game where the very first main character you're introduced, and there's a lot of main characters in Fire Emblem. There's a lot of them.
Sure, yeah.
I mean, it's worse nowadays.
I mean, there was how many in Three Houses? Like
I haven't played it yet.
Seven per house. So like 21.
Yeah. So Lynn of the Lorca tribe. So these two knights have come because the king that they serve is dying, and he's on his deathbed, and his last wish is to see his long lost daughter, But they arrive like a week too late because her tribe has been wiped out by an enemy nation.
Mm-hmm.
And so they have come to spirit her away to her mother's homeland, where she can claim her rightful place on the throne as the princess of I forget the country, Kaelin, the princess of Kaelin. And so the very first story arc is all about just getting her to Kaelin, and the king's brother is sending henchmen after her because if the king's brother dies before she gets there, he's the king.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just super jazzed to be 14, and I'm playing this fantasy game, and the main protagonist, the Luke Skywalker wannabe, is a girl, and that made me happy. That made me very happy. Lynn herself does not have a whole lot of character.
Okay.
She is lay noble, truth, justice, and I guess the Sakaean way.
Yeah.
But I like her.
Okay.
She's also she's the best swordsman in the game.
That's cool. And swordsmen are obviously really sought after in the Fire Emblem universe, considering there's 7 of them in Smash. But
she's got blue hair too.
Nice. Just fits
because
perfectly.
There aren't enough blue-haired swordsmen in Fire Emblem,
Mm-mm. No. Coincidentally, I don't think there are a lot in Three Houses. I think they're mostly blonde or black-haired.
Sasha, I don't know if you've played many Fire Emblem games. Blue is seemingly a dominant trait in this universe.
Probably, yes. Yeah, if you ever look at the Smash Brothers roster and you see a bunch of blue-haired people, just assume it's Fire Emblem and Sonic.
The Fire Emblem games are usually not even related either, so it's not like it's a family tree thing.
No.
It's like Final Fantasy.
Yeah. So, all right, Fire Emblem. And which one was this? The
Fire Emblem Game Boy Advance, also called Fire Emblem Burning Blade. Lynn of the Lorca.
Okay. All right. So I talked about this game since Sasha has been on, and I talked about it a little bit because it took me about 2 years to finish. But I did a little research on her character because she entertains me. She's the one character here that I actively was like, yes, what she is saying is hilarious to me, and I love it. Which is Shelley Bombshell in quotations Harrison. Her name in the game is Shelley Bombshell from Ion Fury. This is the Duke Nukem clone game from 3D Realms I talked about a few months ago, or a few weeks ago. So Shelley, they didn't mention her by name several times, is a demolitions expert in the global defense force of this universe. And I didn't know this before I played this game. I didn't realize this was a prequel. And the prequel of Ion Fury to Bombshell was the name of the game, which is why she's called Shelley Bombshell Harrison. Because, Bombshell's named after her character. Has lost an arm. Well, she has 2 arms in the game I played, so this must happen during the events of Bombshell, because I do not... And I didn't know this also. This game is essentially got a Metacritic of 2 out of 10. Bombshell. was like super buggy, really boring, problematic, and all that kind of stuff. But for some reason, Ion Fury just did it better. Um, Ion Fury didn't do too well, but anyways, I played it. It took me a while to complete just because it's a tough game, and I'm an idiot. And any sort of Doom-like game, I play on the second to hardest difficulty because I feel like I can, because I do that with Doom. So I played this game quite a bit. Her one-liners are hilarious to me, just like they are with Duke Nukem. She has all sorts of great lines, like "That'll be a mess," or like when you gib someone, essentially blow them up with a rocket launcher and they go everywhere. And she's like, "Well, that'll be a mess for the janitor," because you're a lot of times you're going through corporate buildings and stuff. It's actually kind of cool. You're going after this corporate scientist and bringing down his company, um, man by man with his private army. It is a fun game. Like I said, it's a lot of 90s one-liners kind of stuff that she does, and it's gender flipped, obviously, because she's a woman and she's killing a bunch of dudes. And there's the Duke Nukem thing where if you walk up and you look at a mirror, you'll see Duke Nukem say, "Damn, I look good," and Shelley won't even. She's just like, "Oh crap, I got some of that. I got some blood in my hair today," or something like that. Like it's just like oh man, it's a funny. She's a funny character. Very confident, cocky, all that kind of stuff. That is this kind of thing. But I do suggest playing an Ion Fury, even though apparently it's a prequel to a game that did so terribly. Not sure if I'll play Bombshell. Didn't know it was a prequel. But anyways, yeah. So there we go. Shelley Bombshell Harrison. Not exactly an indie game, but not exactly a AAA either. So, because 3D Realms is a known company. They published it. I don't remember who developed it, but so yeah. And if you like Doom or Duke Nukem, it's a good game. So there you go. Sasha, what's your third pick?
Okay, so I really like the PC 90s point and click style games. So things like Day of the Tentacle, Full Throttle, Maniac Mansion, that stuff. So there is a series called the Blackwell series that there are 5 games, and it follows a protagonist named Rosangela Blackwell. And Rosangela Blackwell she is a journalist in the first game, and she's kind of a nobody. She lives in a 1-bedroom flat, and she starts getting these really bad headaches the day before she receives a letter letting her know that her great aunt, who she didn't have a relationship with, has died, and she is the closest living relative, and there's a will, and she has to go and find out what her aunt has left her.
Okay.
What she finds that her aunt has left her is medium skills. So her aunt was a psychic medium who could see ghosts, and when her aunt died, the gift was passed on to her. So these headaches that she's getting was the psychic skill kind of manifesting. So she starts seeing this guy named, I had to pull up some stuff because I played this game a while ago. She starts seeing this ghost named Joey, and Joey is a detective, and he's like, "Wow, you can see me. Let's do some shit." Basically, he's like, "I'm bored. I've got nothing else to do. Let's do something with your psychic medium skills." And apparently Joey used to follow her aunt, and they would help ghosts move on. It's very Dead Like Me, Ghost Whisperer, that kind of thing. But so she ends up, by the end of the first game, kind of deciding that journalism isn't really working for her. It's not paying the bills. It's not she's not winning any prizes. So she decides to open up kind of like a private detective / paranormal help ghosts move on psychic agency. And then that's
Sure.
what the rest of the games are about.
Hmm.
Yeah, so it's like identical to with game mechanics, identical to any of those like point and click 90s games. You need to make sure that you're picking up the right inventory. Some of it is junk and you'll never need it. Others are really important later on to solve puzzles.
Moon logic, yay!
Yeah. But
Yeah.
otherwise, I think Rosangela is a pretty and I think she's an enjoyable character in the sense that I think she's like in her 20s. She's pretty young. She's got like life hasn't, beaten her down yet, even though she's not an accomplished anything in her career choice. But she's educated. She seems to have people's best interests in heart, obviously, since she's decided to forego a career to help ghosts move on. I don't know what kind of compensation she's going to get for that, but
you ever read A Dirty Job?
No.
Okay, so there's a book by Christopher Moore, he writes silly books. A Dirty Job is it's a book about basically the premise of the Blackwell legacy.
Mm-hmm.
And the main protagonist, his name's Charlie Adler. So the universe basically makes him luckier because he is providing a service to the universe, helping souls move on and etc. And he inherited a pawn shop from his dad. So just like people will like just die and like he just scores big at estate sales like all the time. Or like this one lady, she died because she ate the do not eat packet at the bottom of the beef jerky. And her husband was just so distraught and confused at her death that he just sold all of her like super designer clothes at uber cheap to like Charlie's pawn shop. And then he was able to make money off that. So that's how she makes money.
Gotcha.
That's my headcanon. But A Dirty Job is one of the funniest books I've ever read. Second funniest, because the funniest book I've ever read was a different book by that same author.
Still the Hard Luck Hank series for me that I talked about. Still those. Were you here for that, Pan? No, that was Sasha was here for that. That's the space mutant who's like Wolverine, except he heals back scars and he gets heavier and heavier and heavier. And he's a detective, sort of. He's various things across the series.
So does he look like... Okay, you said you were watching Venture Bros. Did you get to the Fantastic Four episode yet?
Not yet. I'm still in season 1, but I'm watching it.
Okay. It's in season 1 or season 2. Mm-hmm. There is a character that probably looks exactly like Hard Luck Hank.
Probably. I'm not sure. The last one I clearly remember is where the doctor remembers that he's the one that effed up the space station with his cowboy toy. I don't know if you remember that one, but basically,
I'm not gonna. Yes, that is what happens in that episode.
Yeah, no, but I wasn't going to spoil it. But that's the thing of that episode. They're trying to fix that space station. Anyways, that boy, what is that guy's name?
So the Blackwell Legacy.
Yeah.
Rusty Venture is who you're trying to remember, but the Blackwell Legacy.
Mm-hmm. Point and click adventure. The only one I played that I really loved, it was a point and click adventure, was they did a remaster or a remake of the Monkey Island stuff.
Monkey Island. So funny.
Yeah, it is. It's great. Love comedy in games. I wish comedy in games were much more of a thing, honestly. Because I don't know. They don't necessarily... There's, like, funny characters, but, like... There's not a lot of like straight up comedic games. Except those like Monkey Island, I would say is one of those where it is just comedic.
I've got one for you.
Mm-hmm.
Death Spank.
Death Spank. I've heard of
Death
this.
Spank.
I don't remember
There's
it.
Death Spank, and then there's Death Spank the Baconing.
Yes! Yes! It's the night. Yes, I played this. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Death Spank. That's right. I forgot about that. That was a long time ago. Boy. That was an indie game too, wasn't it?
Yeah, I remember that it intrigued me enough that I think I paid the full $15 for it on Xbox Arcade, which I didn't do that often, but it was really fun. I felt like I was playing Jack Black.
Yeah. Oh, man, I don't remember if I finished that game or not, but I definitely played it. Wow.
Spank and the Thongs of Virtue. That's what it was. You had to get
yes.
that's what you had to collect.
The guy who made Death Spank also worked on Monkey Island.
Nice. That makes sense. He has a sense of humor. I will say the funniest game I have ever played was unintentionally fun. Well, no, it was intentionally funny, but the game itself was not funny. It was Bulletstorm. Was it Bulletstorm? The Duke Nukem edition of Bulletstorm, where they just supplanted Duke Nukem over the main character, and they don't change any dialogue for anyone but Duke. And he's like, "My name's not Gray, damn it, I'm Duke fucking Nukem," like all the time. It's just like, he's so frustrated because nobody knows him, and he's like in his universe, he's like the biggest action star ever, and it's just, it's so good. Oh man,
Blood Dragon.
Okay, yeah, I still have yet to play Blood Dragon. There's that. So, point and click adventure, funny games. And what was that one again?
Blackwell series.
The Blackwell series. Okay. Great female protagonists in the Blackwell series.
Yes. Rosangela Blackwell.
I'm looking to see if it's on GOG.
The Blackwell series? Okay.
Hey, there's a bundle.
Ooh. Nice. I will look into that.
Yep, it's on GOG. $15 for the bundle. I don't know what all comes in the bundle.
Hopefully all the games.
There should be 5 games. 4 of them are sequential, and then I think the 5th game is a prequel, and I've not played the 5th one, so I don't know if you're actually Rosangela or if you're her aunt.
Oh, it says it includes the first 4 games, so I wonder if the 5th one is either newer, so they don't want to throw it in the bundle, or it's by a different developer, so therefore it's not licensed the same.
Yeah, that could be it. All right, Pan, what's the third one for you?
All right, well, I'm gonna have to stretch a bit.
Okay.
So as we discussed, he's doing like cartoon stretching.
Yes.
Not like cartoon stretching like a Looney Tune, but he's doing like in anime when they do the cute little chibi stretches, which Fortuan doesn't know about because he doesn't watch anime. But anyways, so like I was saying before we all started recording, my fatal mistake in choosing this topic was that I don't play video games with protagonists.
Mm-hmm.
I play RTSs. I play Harvest Moon games, which those aren't really. We disqualified those because you can choose male or female, and it doesn't affect the game whatsoever. So they may as well not be female.
Right.
They could have the Apache attack helicopter gender, and it wouldn't matter. So, anyways,
I almost lost the rest of my shark bite on that one.
That would have been wonderful. Okay, so that was my fatal flaw. So I've been like racking my brains and struggling to find enough female protagonists. And my original definition was that they had to be someone who is player controlled.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the part where I'm stretching it.
Okay.
Because this person is only player controlled in the very loosest sense of the term at like one specific point in the game. Mm-hmm. And I'm talking about Lily from Pokemon Sun Moon / Ultra Moon, Ultra Sun, whatever. Lily from the Sun Moon Pokemon games.
Is Lily one of the friends?
Yes.
Okay.
It's the blonde one.
Okay.
The blonde one who keeps shoving Nebby in a bag.
It's been a long time since I played Sun and Moon, so you'll have to forgive me.
Okay. So, in the beginning of the game, you meet Lily like on a bridge. She's got this little like poofy cotton candy cloud Pokemon that looks like a pothead's drawing of a galaxy.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Am I wrong?
No, it's just a funny observation.
So Nebby doesn't like going in the bag, but so Nebby busts out of like Lily's backpack and is hopping around on this shaky bridge, and Lily's trying to get Nebby up off the bridge before it breaks. That's when you're introduced to Lily, and she at first comes across as a very damsel in distress type girl who doesn't know what the fuck she is doing or anything at all, really. Yeah. And whatever, nobody cares about the plot to Pokemon Sun Moon. As you know, you encounter her throughout your adventures. At one point, she does like follow you, and she summons Pokemon to help you out in battle, and she heals you. So she's in your party. Okay. That's why very loosest, definite.
She's on your team, generically so. Yes.
That's why I'm stretching it. That's why I'm stretching.
No, I get it. I get it.
But as you proceed through the plot of Pokemon Sun Moon, you find out that Lily most recently escaped from like her crazy mom's like compound. Mm-hmm. And the reason that she doesn't know like any fucking thing at all about the world is because she's never left the compound before. Mm-hmm. And she left because she had to. Yeah, she left because she had to get away from her crazy mom and her like almost her like religious fanaticism, and she just like packed a bag and stuffed Nebby in the bag and noped out. And
she's kind of just save Nebby too.
Yes, yeah. Yes, she was. Yeah, she was also trying to save Nebby because Nebby was like an experiment.
Yeah.
And Lily's mom, Lily's mom is the primary antagonist of the game. Lusamine. So anyways, Lusamine goes on this like super evil rant later on in the game. Like you first run into Lusamine and Lily is like super nervous about being around her and on edge and stuff. Mm-hmm. But Lusamine comes across as like a very nice, welcoming person. And then at one point in the game, there's like this turn where you do something that kind of like ticked off, or like Lusamine finds out that you've been helping Lily hide. Mm-hmm. And she goes on this like evil rant about how dare Lily like betray her, like all the love that she put into her, and how dare she be such an ungrateful little child for betraying her this way and going against her like pretty perfect, like vision for the world. I identified hard with Lily.
Yeah, I can, yeah.
Like, some of the stuff that Lusamine, like, said in her, like, evil villain rant was, like, stuff that I've literally been told by my mom. And I'm just like, oh, my God, Lily, no wonder you don't know anything.
Yeah.
So I identify hard with Lily, and as much shit as I like to give Pokemon Sun and Moon, that was, like, one thing that I just loved about it. Was, like, Lily's little arc where she becomes, like, much more competent and less naive and more like knowledgeable about the world and how to like get along on her own without her mom's help.
And how ironic that it is in a Pokemon game that this happens too. Which was one of the major sticking points for your mom. Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Interesting. The world works in mysterious ways.
My daughter is really, really, really into Pokemon Sun and Moon, and I've been forced to watch the cartoon, all 3 seasons, multiple times. And I'm glad that Lily is more tolerable in the video game.
Mm-hmm.
Is what I'll say about that.
Now, Sun and Moon, is that the one where Ash finally wins?
Finally wins.
Because that's a thing. Ash never wins the world tournament or whatever it is. He never becomes the Pokemon champion.
Yeah, so they just, I think they just released a second, like, series of the Pokemon Journeys, but I haven't had to watch it yet because thankfully I've had to go to work. My husband's had to watch Pokemon Journeys with my daughter.
Mm-hmm.
But he does win at the end, doesn't he? Like his Lycanroc beats the other guy's Lycanroc. He wins, yeah.
Yeah, that's the first time it's happened in 20 years of this anime, where he wins a championship.
I have found Ash, I don't know, I think it's just the repetitiveness of watching the same series over and over and over again, but it's like that Pikachu
chokes.
Is not the only Pokemon that has won some unbelievable battles.
No, that's true.
We just revisited Indigo League, and I'm like, you're really going to throw that Caterpie out? How dare you? How dare you? And then Caterpie wins. What?
Dude, he had the most badass Caterpie / Butterfree in the world. Like, that is a world champion Pokemon by itself. That is the one you take through the Elite Four and you kill them for lols. Like...
No, that Butterfree said, peace out, Ash. You really were going to trade me for a fucking Mankey? Really? I'm out, boy. I'm out.
Oh, that's true, too. Yeah, there's some mixed messages in Indigo League, for sure. Indigo League is like where I fell in love with Pokemon. I started watching the anime before I played the games. And then, because I came into the games probably about a year late. Like, all the craze had already started, and I had got into the games. And then... Still started with red and blue, though. So... Yeah, that's Indigo League. But Lily was her name? Okay. It used to be my favorite name for a girl. Lily. I don't know why. I had that idea as a kid in high school. Didn't know anyone named Lily. Apparently that just broke man. I'm sorry.
It would take a long time to explain, but Lily is a recurring NPC in my D&D campaign. Not this Lily, a different Lily.
Sure.
Her name's Lilendil. But the players can't be asked to learn that name, so her name's Lily.
They can't do Lilendil?
Nope, it's Lily.
All right.
Look, it's been 3 years. Look, she's been in the campaign for the game for 3 years now. So
okay, I gotcha.
But it's a long ass story, and I just started cracking up. I have a really bad track record of naming females in my D&D games. You'd think I'd just like get a list of names printed up and just slapped on one side of my DM screen, right? Nope. So I'll just like, oh, what's the wench's name at the bar? Laura. That's my ex's name. Her name's Laura. No, never mind.
And she hates your guts. She's spit in your ale.
there was literally one time I cycled through like 5 names, and each one was a different player's ex.
Dude, I think your players have a lot of exes then. Ow.
I know, and like rather hilariously, one of my players there was this sapphire dragon that they did some missions for. And they're like, we want to get to know the boss a little. Let's take her out drinking. And we're like, she's only 50, guys. That's not legal drinking age in dragon years. Well, it's legal drinking age in people years. She can go. Let's go. So they did. So they. By the way, what's your name? And I had come up with this like overly complicated Indian name, not like Eastern India, and that they couldn't pronounce it, so they just decided to start calling her Sasha.
Okay.
And so because like I wanted to avoid getting an ex's name, so I just started looking up like Indian women's names.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, we live in Nebraska, and I'm not going to pull one of those out of my hat. So, anyways, they started calling her Sasha, and then one of the players, he decided to keep writing love letters to the dragon Sasha. And then 6 months later, he hooks up with his high school girlfriend, whose name is Sasha.
Nice.
Yeah. So eventually at one point his girlfriend in D&D was named Sasha, and his girlfriend IRL was named Sasha. And it's just he didn't tell us that for the longest time, and he just kept giggling every time I was like, Sasha received your love letter and wrote you back.
Mm-hmm.
It does simplify things though, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. I mean, mine's pretty. If I was in a D&D campaign, it'd be pretty easy to hit my ex's name too, Kathy. I mean, like how many people are named Kathy? A lot. So it would happen eventually. All right. Well, so we're off to number 4.
Yeah.
So number 4 for me. Let me check my order. I know the 2, but. Yeah, I'll go with this one for now. So Senua from Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. And I got this woefully confused with Setsuna one time from I Am Setsuna. My friend and I had a whole hour-long conversation between each other while I was talking about Setsuna and he was talking about Senua. And we didn't realize that we were talking about different people for an hour until we got to a certain point. That story aside, Senua from Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice, is a character that is, I would dare say, nigh impossible to identify with. She is from a I don't know how to describe it, but basically a Viking tribe, maybe, I would say. And she is going through some serious mental problems, like outright serious. You do not know what you are seeing as hallucinations or not. However, it is all because you're sort of learning that her guy has since perished. And you're basically on a journey to sort of like right things, I guess. But it's not really clear. This whole game is a lot about figuring out what the heck is going on top of discovering what she needs to do for herself. And she is as far as like personality goes, she is a very, at times, very brave individual, but is constantly scared shitless by all the horrible visions she is having and or real things that are attacking her or people. So it's like it is an interesting experience, and it is heavily suggested by the developers that you play this with headphones on. And actually, yeah, Pan?
Oh, it's basically Orpheus and Eurydice plot.
Yes.
Got it. Okay.
But it is also extremely complicated. Like, extremely so. So much so, I have played this game, I loved it, and I don't remember half of it. Like, it was just, like, an experience. It is a very intense game. I could not handle playing more than, like, maybe 1 or 2 levels at a time. Like, sometimes when you're into a game, it's like, okay, this is what I'm playing lately, and I'll play some things with some other people, maybe, but mostly I'm going to focus on this game. This game was like, I'm going to play this for like 20 minutes and just do anything else the rest of the day. Like, I can't handle that. You would hear she had a lot of internal dialogue that was spoken to you in different ears all the time. So you would come up in a situation and you would have the ideas sort of like, you talk to yourself in your brain, like, what if I did this? What if I did this? But they were all different voices of her at different levels of energy, aggression, and all this kind of stuff. So you'd get like, you'd come up on something and you'd hear someone whisper in your ear, like, run away, run away. And then you'd get like 3 seconds later, you'd be like, fucking kill him. And you're like, what? What's going on? It's just like, so it's an intense experience, like very intense.
What type of game is it? Hack and slash.
It is
point and click.
Not a point and click. It is an adventure game, and I would say there is combat in it that is akin to something like the newer God of Wars. So like an action game.
Okay. Okay, yeah, because like Steve and I have gone round and round about the genre that God of War falls into, and it's hack and slash light.
Yeah, it is. It is what we generally refer to as generic action adventure, which we took that task of identifying what genres were for a long time on this show. So the combat is pretty good, pretty fluid and that kind of stuff. And there is a lot of combat, especially towards the end. So it is a big focus on the game, but it's not really sure whether some of it's real or not. Like there's a, I don't know if he's actually real, but there's a boss that is a crow, like a crow man kind of thing, that is entirely creepy because he's mimicking things and teleporting around, and you gotta like, it's just good. It's actually a lot of stuff. And there's like the I would say the most intense thing is hearing her thoughts here and there constantly, like when you run across something and you get the whispering and the yelling and the screaming and the whispering and the sadness and the anger, like all at once. You're like, well, please stop. Please stop being in my head. And that's why they tell you to play with headphones, because they want you to be able to hear, and they use that directional sound stuff. And if you ever heard that, where it sounds like something's running towards you and then past you and that kind of stuff, they use that as well. So they'll make it sound like it's right in your ear or far away or something like that. And it's intense. And Senua is a very strong and capable woman in a lot of ways in that game.
So yeah, I'm wish listing this.
There is a sequel.
I have famously said over and over on this podcast, I don't like horror games. I don't like games that stress me out. But what I do like is properly applied unsettlingness and spookiness.
Yeah. That's the way I would. It's not outright horror. It is just unsettling. Yes.
Yeah, and that's so. This sounds like that kind of thing. So, I'm wish listing this and putting it pretty high on my list. And yeah, I would probably have to play this on PC because I. Oh wait, Switches have Bluetooth now.
They do. And this is on Switch. Now, the sequel, as I understand, though, is Xbox Series X exclusive, which means PC. But they actually, as part of the announcement of the Series X, announced the sequel to this. So it's pretty high up on Xbox's grabs right now. This also won a bunch of Game Awards the year it came out. We're coming up on that again. That's just a few months away. That's something we do, Sasha, is we like to talk about the Video Game Awards. I don't know if you're aware of them. What is his name? Goodness gracious. The guy who runs them. I'm gonna have to Google this. I feel bad, but Te. Immediately type Te. The video game awards. Jeff Keighley. I remembered it before I.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah, I remembered it before I actually typed it. Yeah. Yeah, Video Game Awards hosted by Jeff Keighley and ran and funded and organized by Jeff Keighley. Pretty good stuff, and they highlight a lot of great games. That Dragon Cancers. That's where I learned about this. It's where I learned about this game. There's a lot of like Disco Elysium. I think last year was a big winner. Hades was on there quite a bit last year.
Hades won everything.
Hades. I didn't know anything about Hades. I was hoping Doom Eternal would win something. It did not. Oh well. Or Monster Hunter. Monster Hunter would have been nice to win something, but it did not. All right. So, Sasha, you're number 4.
Okay, so this is the only one on my list that I haven't played. But I've watched my husband play the whole game.
Perfectly fair.
Yep. So my choice is Amanda Ripley from Alien Isolation.
Oh, I saw this on a list. I never played Isolation.
And did I steal another one from your list? Oh.
I hope my husband's watching this right now because we literally talked about this today. He's like, Chelsea, would not Ripley from Alien Isolation count? I'm like, who's not Ripley? He's like, well, it's Ripley, but she's Ellen Ripley's daughter, and she's exactly like Ripley, and they call her Ripley, so she might as well be Ripley, but she's not Ripley. She's Helen Ripley.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah, we had this conversation during our road trip around town earlier. Continue.
Yeah. So I am a big Alien fan in general. My daughter's name is Ripley.
Mm-hmm.
So anything Alien, I'm instantly attached to. So he is totally right, though. She's Ripley, not Ripley. But I think that there's an extra layer to her of she is trying to find out what happened to her mom. So if you spend the time to not only hide from the alien, but search, like read the computer logs, there's audio logs and things. She finds out what happens to her mom, and she finds like a missing audio log for her, which nod back to the movies.
Mm-hmm.
But I like Amanda Ripley in the sense that she is the same type of like no nonsense. These are the facts. Let's get through this. Let's get shit done, just like her mom is. But she's an engineer, so slightly different than what her mom's specialty was. Sure. So this comes into play, I think, pretty importantly in Isolation, because it's got really similar elements to, like, if you played, I know you've played Dead Space. Mm-hmm. Same thing. Isaac is an engineer as well. So all of the upgrades, the like jury rigging, I think she takes like some type of a tricorder and makes it into an alien tracker, so that then you can kind of see like a little blip on your radar of in general area where the alien might be, because you got to be real quiet and sneak around because you can't fight at all.
Mm-hmm.
You also have the option to be very crafty with the stealth versus fight and disarm the androids that are on the space station.
Yeah.
Which I also really liked. I think that layer of realism of she is not a fighter at all. So if your plan of action is, running into fight, it's not gonna work. So you do have to really think like Ripley.
Mm-hmm.
To survive. So I like it. Yeah.
Okay.
I also love that there's no like cheesy love interest forced into the game, like this guy is gonna save her, or she's got to save some man and puts herself in additional danger because of her love interest. None of that is there. So it's just bare bones science fiction. I love it.
looking at my list. Senua has a lot of problems with that. Because a lot of it's about her deceased other. But even Lara Croft goes through that somewhat. But Shelley Bombshell Harrison does not give a fuck about men and just kills them all. Calls them all pigs. It's the only one on my list that probably doesn't care about a relationship. Probably. I don't know about the last one. Anyways, so Alien Isolation. Although I would find it hard to believe to care about a relationship when you're being hunted by an alien. Like, I would find it really hard. Like, you get a call.
And yet, you've played Dead Space, right?
Oh, yeah, no. Dead Space is all about finding that woman. Yeah. I find it funny, though, because could you imagine she gets like a drunken text while she's trying to run away from this alien? Like, I miss you, babe. How are they? She's like, not fucking right now, you ass.
You up? You awake?
Oh, man. Oh, jeez. Real life is not quite the same. All right, so Pan, number 4. You have one more after number 4, or is this your last one? Did you find another one? Okay. Good enough, probably. So, what's number 4?
I do have a number 4.
Okay.
So, I mean, I will say that it's kind of stretching it to call David Cage games.
Okay.
They're choose-your-own-adventure movies with quick-time events.
I mean, isn't that what a dating sim is?
Okay, never mind. You got me.
Yep.
You got me.
Because we did dating sims. And those are some good games.
You got me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, I'm not shitting on David Cage games. They're some of the best movies I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But, so, Detroit Become Human. Premise of Detroit Become Human is basically iRobot.
Mm-hmm. In Detroit.
Yes, in Detroit. It's in the not too distant future. There are sentient robots, or there are sentient androids that look just like people that do all the manual labor everywhere. There's rampant joblessness because basically all like non-art jobs are taken over by androids now. Like all manufacturing jobs, all skilled labor.
Mm-hmm.
It's all taken over by androids now. And so some people hate androids, but a lot of people just kind of have androids as like a house slave or whatever. And there's the plot of Detroit Become Human is that, some androids are becoming sapient and like able to like exist outside of like what they're told to do and basically become indistinguishable from people. So,
Blade Runner.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Plus iRobot. Yeah, yeah, very much like Blade Runner. So, Kara is we're introduced to Kara. She is an android. Like all three of the characters you play as are androids.
Mm-hmm.
There's Cop Android, who's basically the cop from Twin Peaks.
Okay.
He looks just like him too. There is like Nurse Android, who like worked for like an artist. And then there's Kara. And Kara's owner is basically this alcoholic taxi driver, and his like daughter. And Kara, we're first introduced to Kara because she's her owner picks her up from being worked on, and she's very sort of discombobulated because she can't remember what happened to her, but she just got sent in for warranty work. She's being picked up, and they go home, and he basically he tells her to go cook and, feed the kid and all that jazz. And very quickly you realize, Kara he basically treats her as like his abused wife. And in the first couple of sort of scenes you have with Kara and her owner, you realize that she was sent in for warranty work because he like threw her into a wall.
Yeah, I think I remember something about this being like he just totally thrashed this robot a couple times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like the little girl, the daughter has like all kinds of like drawings of like her dad like breaking Kara, like hidden away in her room. But Kara doesn't remember any of this. Anyways, so like she like drops a plate or something, I don't know, and it sets him off, of course, or like the little girl does something, and he goes to like, it's been a while since I watched it, but he like goes to like hit the little girl, and that like causes Kara to snap and operate like basically disobey a direct order.
Yeah.
And that's like every one of the robots has a moment where like they disobey a direct order and they suddenly become sapient and able to think for themselves. So she disobeys a direct order from him to basically protect the little girl from being like abused by her dad, like physically. And then it turns into Kara's arc for the rest of the game is basically protect little girl while you're on the run.
Okay.
And Kara is like desperately trying to hide that she's a robot. And like, because if they figure out she's a robot, they'll like look at her serial number, like under her, on like the back of her neck or something, and take her back to her owner.
Mm-hmm. And
she cannot get caught with like this little child that she's kidnapped.
Yeah.
So, so for her, as the game progresses, like different things start happening, but there's like this sort of mass awakening of robots, and the company that makes the robots and owns the license to them basically recalls all the robots.
Okay.
And eventually, in one of the sort of endings, Kara and the little girl get caught. And then that's when you find out that Kara didn't know it, but this little girl that she's been like fighting to protect and keep away from the dad the whole time is also a little robot. And the angry like alcoholic guy like basically bought a pair of robots to be his wife and daughter because his wife left him like 6 years ago.
Oh, because he's an asshole.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Whew.
But yeah, so yeah, Kara is she's very crafty. She's thinks on her feet, and she's also canonically the first robot ever to like awaken out of to sort of like snap and awaken.
Okay.
So, like she's very like, because like one of the other robots becomes like basically robot Martin Luther King. And she's very like removed because she's on the run the whole time. She's very removed from like all the activism going on, and all she's trying to do is like protect the little girl and like get her somewhere safe. She doesn't know where she's going because she's a she hasn't figured that out yet.
Yeah. Huh.
But yeah. There's also like fun little like throughout Kara's story. There's fun little hints that like the little girl is not human. Like you never ever see the little girl eat. And like they're like walking through a snowstorm, and Kara's like, "Oh, I got to get you a coat or something. I mean, I'm not gonna freeze, but we've got to keep you warm." She's like, "Don't worry, Kara, I'm fine."
Yeah, but a little girl would say that too.
Yeah. You think the little girl's being tough, but no, it's because she's a robot.
Yeah. Interesting.
But yeah, the time because Steve and I basically rented the game for like a weekend, and there's like 1 billion different endings for each character. We never got any good endings for Kara and the little girl robots.
That's sad. That's very
sad. They ended up.
They
ended sadly. Because they're basically choose your own adventure book. It's basically choose your own adventure book in Blade Runner.
Okay, I mean, that's like I said, it was the dating sim. Like, what was the one that you had me play? Oh
God, I can't remember what it's called. Some Japanese name.
Uh,
Steve, say it in the chat if you're still watching.
I'd have to minimize the screen that we are looking at on Twitch to see it. It's the
game made by 4chan. I know.
Yeah. Oh boy! But essentially, Sasha, if you don't know, it's an indie game. It was made by a bunch of people on 4chan. That is, you are a guy who goes to a school full of disabled individuals, and it's a school like there's blind, deaf, paraplegics, all sorts of stuff, and it's a dating sim on which girl are you going to be with, and it's actually really in depth and really heartfelt, and like extremely positive.
Yeah, it's more about like Hisao learning to accept
His own disability.
And the way like his own life has been derailed.
Mm-hmm.
Because he basically
a debilitating heart condition. Like
like 2 minutes into the game, like as you're being introduced to him, he has a heart attack, and he finds out that he's basically got a very weak heart, and he could die at any moment.
Mm. Yep. And I don't remember.
And 420 died every time.
I did not die every time. I died twice in a row. And you're like, you didn't. And Pan was like, I didn't know you could die. I was like, apparently, you can die. And the way you can die is that you don't get in with any girl early enough in the game, and you get drunk with some other kid on the roof, and he pushes you off the roof, and you die.
Even die of a heart attack?
Nope. You get pushed off a building.
He got drunk and fell off a roof.
Yep. So this is why I don't drink. The stuff like this will never happen to me in real life.
You'll never get drunk with your schizophrenic roommate and fall off a roof?
Nope. My schizophrenic... Don't say that about Chauncey. He's a great guy. My brother. Anyways. All right. So,
Hitawa Shoujo.
Yes, Hitawa Shoujo.
Katawa Shoujo.
Hitawa Shoujo. There you go. It's free. So if you ever want to feel weird, because it's also very lewd at times. There is a non-lewdness, but it is also lewd. Anyways, so fifth pick for the night. For me, I'm going to end on a game rather popular lately, but I think she's a strong enough character to talk about, and I enjoyed the game for its gameplay a lot, which is Celeste. And Celeste has a very big message about mental health, and it's all sort of a metaphor of climbing your own mountains, essentially. Celeste is a platformer, and a very high execution platformer, and it's a lot about like dealing with your own demons and stuff. There's an actual literal representation of your negative self that kills you in the game. Like there's like the bad version of you. And Celeste is about a girl who is just, I think they're talking about depression. A lot is what she's dealing with, but there's also some other things. And just sort of like climbing that metaphorical mountain of what going through that is. And it's a pretty powerful story at times, but it's also an extremely difficult game. I have beat it. And it is fun. It's very popular on speedruns. If you've ever seen a lot of the Awesome Games Done Quick stuff, it's on there a lot. There's a lot of mods up there. And I don't know, it seems like both of you have not played or heard of Celeste.
I've heard of it. My husband was playing it. Looks like it's like Meat Boy difficult, and that's not my ball game. No,
it's
rather difficult. It is a execution heavy platformer for sure.
A buddy of mine, he's, him, Devin. Devin super loves this game. This is one of Devin's favorite games. So yeah. I've heard about it.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but he loves speedrunning and he loves Super Meat Boy, so.
Yep. I enjoy watching speedrunning. I'm not sure, there's a lot of problems I have with the mentality of speedrunning sometimes, but
well, speedrunning and Monster Hunter.
Not just Monster Hunter. I will say this, just to not have this in the dark. I don't really like when people just call people who don't speedrun casual players. It doesn't make sense. There's so many different ways to play a game, and casual and speedrun are not two. There's not only two ways. So I don't get why that has become a thing in the speedrun community. But anyways, that aside, the things in Celeste are... this is another one that came up with the Game Awards for games with a purpose. And the purpose of this was about exploring Celeste's difficulties and mentality and stuff. There's some pretty poignant conversations with her mom at the beginning and stuff like that. And a lot of what she's like the bosses and stuff she's dealing with is sort of like mental representations of what she's going through in life. It's actually really cool. And someone who has battled depression before, it was actually kind of, I connected with me in a lot of ways when I played it. So yeah, it was a good game. But I guess that's it. So, Sasha, we'll move on to your last one.
All right. So I'm going to stretch the rules as well for my last one. Because one of the other rules was that we, going on with the, if it doesn't matter if it's a male or female protagonist, don't bring it up. The way I'm going to stretch the rule here is, I think it matters in Dragon Age Inquisition if you play as a male or a female and which race you play.
And yeah, that certainly matters in either Dragon Age. Yeah.
Yep. So I am specifically going for the Lady Lavalon in Dragon Age Inquisition, which is the Dalish elf, the female character, and I think I'm gonna die on this hill. This is the canon Inquisitor. This is who they intended you to play as to get the whole story.
Okay.
Pan, give it to me. Lay it on me. You look
No. Going back to the, I'm about to start some shit on our Discord, but going back to the discussion that inspired this night, I will die on the hill that Revan is canonically female. I will die on that hill, and that's why I see no problem if they're forcing you to be female Revan. That was the one true Revan all along, so I don't get what the problem is.
This is what I missed with that conversation, because I thought his standpoint was like, hey, they should include the female. I didn't know that they were talking about discluding the male. I didn't. Okay, that's where I got confused.
Yeah. By the way, nobody brought that up. Nobody is saying you can't. It's just that the trailer had a lady voiceover.
Sure.
For Revan. So, but I will die on the hill that Revan is female.
Gotcha.
Continue.
Okay, so my hill that I'm dead on is I really believe that in order to get the full Inquisition story, you have to play as the Dalish elf. And I learned this on my third playthrough. It was my first playthrough. I played as a human, female, because Cullen.
Mm-hmm.
And then my second playthrough, I wanted to play as a human male just to like explore the other romance options. So then my third run, I was like, well, let's try the Dalish elf because Solus is, just not interested in my pasty white human ass. So,
yeah,
I was pleasantly surprised at the difference in the dialogue with Solus. I found him to be like a really grating, annoying party member, playing as a human, but playing as an elf, he is very loving. He's very charismatic. He is smooth, very smooth, and
well, see, there's this thing that guys do that like, hey, I have a chance with this girl. I'm not going to be an asshole for once.
No. It's not even like that. He is like, he he uplifts essentially like your nameless character, because the whole he's very much like you need to be proud of who you are. You're a Dalish elf. Because in Inquisition and all of the Dragon Age games, there's this whole bit about like magic is bad and the mages should be controlled, but the Dalish elves have never been subjected to that level of control. So, I mean, Solus is an antagonist, I would say, in Inquisition, and is very likely going to be the main antagonist in the next game. And I don't think you're going to get that without playing as his love interest in Inquisition, because I was blindsided by the additional amount of lore that came with romancing him. There's an extra cutscene as well that's outside of all the lovey-dovey stuff, where he takes her to explore and learn more about the Dalish elves. And I think it's your first kind of reveal for the major spoiler of the game that you would not have gotten without playing as a female Dalish elf.
Yeah, you're kind of half convincing me to play Dragon Age, as much as I only liked number 2.
If you liked number 2, think of the positive things from 2, which would have been the improvement in the game mechanics and the fighting systems. All of that carries over to 3, but there's like 12 different maps instead of 2.
Yeah, I know. I understand. So I understand why 2 was the inferior one, but 2 was the one I played because it's the one I could stand to play at the time.
And you fight actual dragons in Inquisition, like a ton of dragons.
You work up to fighting one dragon in number 2. Just one. And I don't remember, I never got far enough in 1 to really judge that.
You don't fight a real dragon. You fight the archdemon, which is looks like a dragon in Origin. And you fight Flemeth, who is a witch. Takes on like a dragon form, but no real dragon.
Oh,
But yeah, so that's my my hill that I'll die on about Inquisition is it is intended to be played as a female Dalish elf.
Can you be a male dwarf?
I think you can play as dwarves. I've not played the game through as a dwarf. Yes, you can, because so my very first time playing through Inquisition, I didn't finish this character because I picked female dwarf because I wanted to romance Varric. I was pissed when I found out that I couldn't, so I deleted the save, started it over.
There's a certain reason why I identify with dwarves. It just...
Is it the beard?
Yes. I've always said dwarves are my spirit animal.
Yeah, so you can be a not orc, you can be a human, you can be an elf, or you can be a dwarf.
Oh, not orc is in off-brand orc. Gotcha.
The Kunari?
Diet orc.
Diet orc. That sounds terrible.
Diet orc.
Oh boy. Now I've see, the thing is I like the Dragon Age idea, right? I like a lot of things they do in those games. But I hate Mass Effect so much that I'm just like, and a lot of it is a male shepherd. I do not identify with male shepherd at all. He is not like
You mean bro shepherd?
Yeah, no, I cannot.
Hey, femme shepherd is also bro shepherd. Okay.
Fair.
That at least is believable. That femme shep is a space marine. That she'd be a bro too.
Yeah, I cannot identify with shepherd, and as I've said many times in this podcast, for some reason, space is that is a setting that I'm just immediately very critical about. I am just it might be the fact that I watched so much Star Trek with my dad growing up that I'm just over it immediately. Like I'm not, and then all the humanoids are like humanoid looking, and then not like blobs or like scorpions or whatever crazy thing could be out there in the universe. They all look humanish. Now, granted, yes, Mass Effect has some different things. I know this. But yeah,
They are in the same universe, though, because as a person who finds every possible codex entry that I can, there are Easter eggs for both franchises in each one.
I'm not against that, but Dragon Age is more my speed of setting, sword and sorcery. So I might try to delve into that. And knowing me, I'm going to try to delve back into Origins because I want to get the whole story. I've done 2.
I love Origins. I still think Origins is my favorite of the 3, but it is not the best mechanically game. But
no,
I
think
know. If you're going to play on PC, it's fine.
Yeah,
it'll be fine.
I would be replaying these on PC now that I have, because at the time I was purely console because that's what I could afford, right? Now I'm on this baller PC that we're recording on, so I can do that. So we'll see. That I'm thinking about Mass Effect, and I don't know how I would act playing as a female in a game, because I normally don't do that, and I had a whole reason why I don't do that if I can choose. Because of all the the herbal essence commercials my friends did during D&D playing female characters and trying to hit on all the guys and sleep with all the guys and stuff that they did. Like, I was just like, this is just wrong and terrible, and I want nothing to do with this, and I am not associated with these people anymore. Like, I was so over it. So I tend to take the stance of, like, I cannot think like a person that I am not entirely. I can do that as an orc, apparently. I feel no problems thinking like an orc. But no, don't you start this, Pan. No, has not.
I'm dying.
What? So one of my most railed ecologies was about orcs, and how I was not. I was both racist and homophobic for writing about orcs. Which I am not. Spoilers. I am not. But that's what it boils down to.
Orcs are going to be forever a meme with you, Fortron. I just can't help it.
It's sad. It was my most popular article ever. By far. I
know. Controversy sells, man.
I know. So.
My voice just died.
Do you have a fifth one, Pan? Because you're
kind
of.
I'm gonna turn off my mic for a minute and cough really badly.
Okay. So yeah. So Dragon Age. I'm gonna look that up now, and it's probably gonna pop up on the screen. Yep, it did. The store. Good old games. Da 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 da. I know that Good Old Games has them all. Are you talking, Pan? You're no longer talking.
I didn't turn the mic back on.
Ah, okay. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, I'm back. And my voice is temporarily back. All right, so I debated back and forth whether or not to count this one. Yeah, Steve and I actually spent a while discussing this one. It's the one I mentioned in the chat. So I'm going to say this one doesn't really count as a fifth. This one's an honorable mention. This one's an honorable mention as what I'm going to call a non-male protagonist.
Okay.
But it wouldn't really be correct to call them female. And the game isn't really clear. Isn't 100% clear for a couple different reasons. But I'm talking about Nauto Shiragani from Persona. Persona 4. Yeah, Persona 4. I didn't want to get the number wrong. So, Persona 4 is it's hard to, it's a JRPG. That's the in broadest terms. It's a JRPG. There are mysterious, yeah, / life sim.
Yeah.
And there are mysterious murders happening in a small, idyllic Japanese town up in the mountains, and you gotta use your powers of diving into the human psyche to solve the murders. Along the way, you make friends with other people from this small town, and you help them sort of explore parts of their own psyches that they've closed off to themselves. Like that you get stronger the more honest you are with yourself. So the game is about like helping your friends become more honest with themselves about how they really are deep down inside. So Nauto Shiragani is they're a private detective. They are sort of a celebrity in universe known as the Detective Prince. They're basically a teenage whiz kid who is just they're 15-year-old Sherlock Holmes essentially. And as you find out, going through your adventures through the collective psyche of this small town, Naoto has a pretty big dark demon hidden deep down inside their psyche. Yeah. So you're like, well, we got to deal with this demon because it's gonna wreck some shit, and we gotta go deal with it. So come on, Naoto, deep down in your psyche we go. And Naoto like resists super hard, and they won't let you get any. They don't want to do it, but eventually they have no choice but to confront this big part of themselves that they've closed off. And that's when you find out that Naoto was born female. And they have completely closed off to themselves and denied that they are female because Naoto's deepest, highest dream for their life is to become a police chief like their grandpa. But this takes place in Japan, but Japan is very sexist, and a woman is never going to make it as a cop. And they sort of they started dressing more masculine. They dropped their voice. They cut their hair super short. Naoto looks like an anime boy. I mean, it can get a little hard to tell with some fanciful anime.
Very androgynous, yes.
Yes, but Naoto looks male. Everyone calls Naoto male. Naoto's called the Detective Prince. And Naoto's deep, dark secret is that they're a girl. And so Naoto's sort of personal quest is to sort of become comfortable in their own skin and sort of accept themselves as a girl. Now this game came out in like 2008. And by the end of it, by the time Naoto becomes like actualized and open and completely honest with themselves, they have accepted that they are feminine, and they start dressing more femininely and start using female pronouns. However, there's a lot of sort of identification with Naoto being trans, and and the game came out in Japan in 2008. So over a decade ago. So at the time, it was very out of left field to have a major character in a mainline, big name Japanese JRPG, but it was way out of left field to have a non-binary character in a AAA title come out of Japan.
Yeah. So
Naoto gets an honorable mention because they're a very sort of interesting non-male protagonist, and their sort of journey to begin accepting themselves is super interesting. And funnily enough, there's another character, Kanji, who his deep dark secret is that he's gay, like straight up. He's gay, and there's this tension in parts in the first half of the game where Naoto is presented as a male, and Kanji feels like super nervous around Naoto because he thinks Naoto's cute, but he can't admit that to himself. And Kanji kind of has this personal crisis when he finds out that Naoto's a girl. Because he thought he'd made so much progress accepting himself as gay, and then he found out that like he's so confused with himself for thinking that this apparently girl was cute.
But they were
and he's so
purposely trying
confused.
to. I get it, yeah, but they were purposely trying to be male, right? So,
Yeah. But yeah, Kanji himself is like very, very confused about that. But super wants to be friends with Naoto and has no idea how to talk to a girl because he's never needed to.
Got you.
So yeah. Anyways, Naoto, honorable mention as an interesting non-male protagonist.
Okay.
But yeah, like Steve and I went round and round over whether or not Naoto should be considered male or female, and apparently it's kind of hotly debated in the fandom.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I think it's kind of hotly debated to Naoto as well. So.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So. Yeah, it certainly is.
Okay.
So there you go. And then I'm done.
Do you have any other honorable mentions, Sasha? I have 2. I have 3.
I do not.
Okay. So here's the one that didn't make the list because I found Senua. And I wanted to talk about Senua more than her, which is Bayonetta. I have played the Bayonetta games. Bayonetta is very much, I'm a strong woman and I will own my sexuality and wrap you up in my hair and kill you. It's an okay game. I very much enjoy those style of games, but Bayonetta is a little too difficult for me at times. I need to play at a lower difficulty, but my idiot, stubborn nature wants to play at a higher difficulty because I like to think I'm good at video games. I'll tell you what, though. I've been replaying through No More Heroes for Bickering Bucks because we're going to be doing No More Heroes 3 that just came out. And I started playing through 1 and 2. I straight up put it on easy mode for 2. I was like, I'm not even going to worry about it. I'm going to go easy mode. And I had so much more of an enjoyable time than I would have. Because even on easy mode, it was just like, whatever. So Bayonetta. The other 2 honorable mentions I have, I don't think they qualify for this list based on one of them is just not really a character. You just play as a girl. It has no bearings whether you're male or female, and that's Jill of the Jungle. That is a namesake from an old Apogee Software game. We're talking like 80s, 90s platformer.
Oh, this is some Pitfall looking stuff.
Yep. Jill of the Jungle was a pseudo-popular game at the time. My dad had it. I played it on his computer. It's okay. The only fact is that it's named after Jill of the Jungle. That's it. There's not anything about her being a character or anything like that. She just lives in the jungle. Something pissed her off and she's going to go kill the bad guy.
It's free on GOG.
Yes, it is absolutely free because it is open source software that is, I think it's abandonware this time, but it used to be Apogee Software, I believe, which is super old stuff. And then the other one doesn't qualify because you can always pick the male version of this character, but in my head, canonically, this person is always female because of the voice actress, and that is Li Ming. It was what the game name gave her in Heroes of the Storm, the female wizard in Diablo 3. Having Azula from Avatar: The Last Airbender be the voice actor makes this canonically the wizard in my brain. She even shares some of the same voice lines as she does from the anime. A lot, actually. And is a character.
That's the joke.
Yeah, I know. It is the joke. And Li Ming is also, that's just what they named her in Heroes of the Storm. They just gave those characters names. You can make her any name, and she doesn't qualify because technically you're not really, she's whatever you make her as far as a character goes, but she does have definition as a character, but that definition as a character also applies to the male counterpart. It just depends on which one you pick. It has nothing to do with their gender. Basically, the backstory of Li Ming is they're a wizard, and in the Diablo universe, that's a bad thing because wizards are hunted and killed by assassins. Because wizards delve into magics that are forbidden and unknown to the religious order that controls magic.
because wizards be doing wizard shit.
Specifically because they delve into arcane energy, and if in a D&D world, that's kind of normal magic stuff. All of the magic in Diablo world is elemental. So if you delve outside of the elemental, you go into the arcane arts, you are considered dangerous because it is not able to be controlled. And they have a whole specific order called the Assassins to kill wizards. The funny thing is, you actually get to play as the Assassin Order, namely the Assassin, in Diablo 2 before you even learn or even know about the wizards in Diablo 3. This was some serious back storytelling that they did a lot in Diablo 3. So I don't know. It was always interesting to me. I think the wizard is one of the more interesting classes lore-wise. Because, I mean, barbarian. Yay, we came from the mountains. We're the barbarians. We protect this mountain. This is something that we've been doing for ages. That's interesting in a way, but it's not as interesting as the forbidden arts kind of thing. So, and that's it. That's my 3 honorable mentions.
Oh yeah, also other honorable mention was Ciri, but I can't distinguish her enough from book Ciri.
Ciri.
The Witcher.
Oh, I was thinking Siri, where is this on your phone? Sorry.
Yeah, but she runs together with book Ciri too much in my head, so
Fair.
So she's a book character, not a video game character to me, so that's why.
The only book character I've ran across in that universe is Yennefer so far. Because I've only listened to the 3 books now, and Yennefer is only mentioned in 2 of those books, so...
They're very on again, off again. They spend whole decades quasi off.
Yeah, Yennefer sucks every time though.
I don't know. She just pieced out on 2 guys at the same time in the one I just read, so...
Oh, that story is brutal!
You finished it?
Mm-hmm.
So you see that it did not end the way that I expected it was going to end.
I actually kind of expected her to just bail on both of them, being like, I love both of you. I don't want you to kill each other.
Oh no, I'm talking about what Vilgefortz does to the Witcher. That I didn't expect that. Or is that not the same story? Is that a later thing that happens with Vilgefortz?
Basically, Geralt tells him, "No, I'm not fighting you. Goodbye," and just
So, no,
away.
there's going to be a fight. There's going to be a fight.
Okay, that's in a
yeah. Vilgefortz comes back.
That's in a different book then, because that's not how it ends in the one I read. Because the Witcher's like, you're not worth it. Yeah, you're like what is the point? She doesn't want you, and then he realizes on walking back, she doesn't want him either, because he knows what's in the letter. It was actually a very solemn, somber love story more than anything.
Yeah.
Love story.
It is about love. It doesn't mean that they're actually in love. Relationship story, is that better?
Look, there's a cosmic power binding their destinies together. They can't help themselves.
Star-crossed lovers that don't drink
they're also 2 kind of terrible people, so they may as well contain the toxicity with each other.
I will say, there's an aside. I am glad that you got this book for me, Pan, because I wouldn't have done it myself. Also, I did not realize those tonics really mess with Geralt. And they do not talk about that in the games at all.
Oh yeah, no, you just chug him down. I know. No, if he drinks one in the book, he's like, this is gonna fuck me up, but vampire's gonna fuck me up worse.
Yeah, it's a do or die situation with those tonics. Whereas I remember in the first game, they're like, use the tonics, damn it, use the tonics, and I'm like, I don't want to use the tonics. I don't like using drugs. Stop it, game.
Yeah.
I don't. Oh man, that's all. Yeah, I don't know. It's been enjoyable, but so I want to tease the audience a little bit on next week. We're gonna have Ace back, and we're gonna have Ace back long term. So there's gonna be 4 of us again. So Sasha, Pan, myself, and Ace, and we're gonna talk about the silent protagonist in video games. And we're one of the things that we're going to do is we're going to bring a series to the table and say, should this protagonist be silent anymore? Yes or no? And arguments as to why they shouldn't or should be. And this is basically, we're just bringing the table and having a discussion on them. I don't think that we need to bring 5 each. I think that's a little much. So probably 3. Cut it down to 3. I could think of about 7 that I could do. So I'm going to put out the whole list, put myself last so I'm not overlapping with people. And then, because I'm sure that Pan, you and I are going to fall on some of the same ones, that kind of stuff. Sasha, I'm sure you're going to have a unique perspective as to which one should and shouldn't be silent, because you play a lot of different games than we do usually. So I'm excited for this one. I'm really excited for this one because this is something that ever since Monster Hunter Stories 2 really aggravated me, and how much that protagonist is silent but also not silent, and also a dickhead for being silent, or whatever you want to call the girl version that you pick. But the guy, I called him a dick. I did it so much that, in fact, I actually there's an option to show your helmet or not show your helmet. And I purposely started wearing helmets and saying show helmet so you couldn't see his facial expressions to make him more of a believable asshole. This is how far this game went for me on the silent protagonist. And I was just like, no, don't do this. So yeah, I think it's a good idea. I don't know if you guys agree or not, but I think it's something that I'm at least very fired up about. So next week, that's what we'll be doing. And Ace will be back on a longer term basis because his work schedule's changed. So yay. And hopefully he figures out his internet issue, because that was really rough the first 10 minutes last week. So, but yeah, thank you guys for listening. And we'll catch you next week. You can catch us for later updates and that kind of stuff at HunterSubPod on Twitter, or here on the Discord. And of course, if you're already watching on Twitch, HunterSubPod as well. Thank you, Pan and Sasha, for joining me tonight. And hopefully, people have some more female characters to play as, or look at least. Well, that came out wrong. Games to look at with female protagonists. There you go. Had to back that one up. Man, I made it through the whole episode not sounded like a sexist the whole time. And then there I go.
You're this far from home.
I just fucked it up. All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
We'll leave on that note.
Bye.